In the first episode of Red Dead 2 O'Clock, everything we know about the game so far, little things you may have missed in the trailer, and how will the online mode really work. It's all here on this week's Red Dead 2 O'Clock. Hello and welcome to this first episode of Red Dead 2 O'Clock, where we're going to be discussing everything to do with the game and the world that it's set in. My name is James Jarvis, and joining me to host this show is Dan Dawkins.
It's a pleasure to be back, or for many people, a pleasure to introduce myself. So
exactly. Hey. Well, I think that'll be one of many people's questions to do with this show. So we're going to talk about who we are and why we're doing it. So let's start with why. Why now, Dan? Why have we brought out this show now, 6 weeks before the game?
The obvious reason is, for those who don't know, James and I worked on a show quite a while ago called GTA 5 O'Clock. At the time, it was quite popular. Thank God, people wanted to listen to us analyse the game. In fact, 60 million people listened to the show during sort of 2012 and early 2013, which was astounding. It was such a great thing to be part of. But after the game came out, GTA 5 came out, we kind of slowly eased away from it. Different things in our life and responsibilities took us away from the game. It was probably because I was rubbish at GTA Online. Rubbish at that. But we were very good at analysing GTA 5. So I think what we did really well was put together a lot of the pieces of details to build theories for what will be in the final game. I don't think it's a lie to say, for example, that we were the first to build a good picture of GTA Online, right? We built a very clear picture of that. I think we were the first channel to talk about how the actual intro of the game would begin, right? We outlined a lot of these things and predicted them with uncanny accuracy. We also got a lot of things wrong. I mean, let's be clear. But I think the strike rate, I would hold it up for a count. So we're back, and we're back with a game that is, different to GTA 5 quite obviously, but comes from the Rockstar stable. And I think people who are fans of Rockstar games have a certain level of expectation from their games, and I think, we've got something to bring.
We'll be here now every Friday at 2 p.m. ish. I mean, if you've listened to the GTA 5 o'clock shows, you'll know that some of them didn't go out at 5 o'clock. But our plan is Fridays at 2 o'clock for the main show. The point of this show, this first one, is basically to get us all up to speed of where we need to be. Now, there might not be a lot of new information in this show because some of you have delved into the trailer and watched it hundreds of times like we have. But some people will be new joining us on this journey. So we just wanted to basically give you an overview of the themes of the game and get everyone up to speed. So in the next episodes, we can go really deep into some of the more detailed things. So let's start off from the very beginning, Red Dead 2. So it's set in 1899 and follows the story of Arthur Morgan. You get a lot of people along on your journey with you. In fact, there's 23 members of the Red Dead Redemption 2 Vanderlyn gang. Something that Rockstar put out just recently was pictures of all of them with quotes from each one. We can take a look at, obviously we've got Dutch and Bill Williamson, who were targets of John Marston's manhunt in the original game. But there's some new people as well. We've got Susan Grimshaw, who's said to be the undisputed boss and arbiter of justice in the camp. Everything would have fallen apart without her in charge, apparently. So she seems to be, the big mother figure that everyone goes to. And then we've got Charles Smith, who's a relatively recent recruit to the gang. He's quite reserved, extremely competent, and virtually unbeatable in a fight. So he's probably good.
I can relate to that. Really,
okay. Yeah. A decent and honest man who also happens to be deadly. Now, the concept of having all these people would be that during your different jobs, I would imagine, you get to take some of these people along with you and have to choose the best ones for the certain situations. So if you're going into town for a fight, take your man Charles with you.
Yeah, I think, to zoom out on all of Red Dead, this is what's the thematic view of Red Dead. And I think, Rockstar very deliberately set it at sort of the turn of the technological industrial revolution. So it's kind of the collapse of one way of life, as perhaps a more romantic, simpler way of life, and the rise of increased efficiency, machines. There's a tension in terms of changing times and how maybe someone who was very successful in a previous time adapts to a new time. These feel like very rock star, coming of age definition of character themes. Now, something they've explored in previous games, the GTA games, I think is increasingly a sense of consequence, morality, and choice, and how that all interlaps. So where that's been done reasonably successfully by, say, you being, you play Trevor, you play Michael, you play these characters, and the way you're not quite sure who to root for, and they all affect each other. I think they're going much, much deeper with this to build this entire family around you, where you really choose who you lean into, who you're friendlier with, who you've got tensions with. And I guess the idea will be that these depth of relationships will reverberate later in the story, because you will feel the consequences of your actions. One of the key things, and I guess we'll talk about this now with Red Dead, is that you can choose, using the control, like a greeting to people. So if you go past someone on a horse, you can just go like a polite howdy, or you can address them aggressively. And all of these little subtle interactions start to reverberate in a butterfly effect style, the way you build the world, for me.
Yeah, we've definitely seen hints in the trailer we'll talk about later of decisions that you make affecting the world. Like, there's definitely a mission where you're on where you, I think, have previously killed somebody's cousin, and then you go up to that person and they're very hostile towards you because they're like,
"You killed my cousin, you sick son of a bitch!"
Rather than if you had saved them, they might have offered you something different. So it definitely affects the world around you. And I think a lot of these decisions, especially with members of your gang, are going to take part in the camps that we've seen in the trailers. Now, this appears to be a place where everybody gets together. It's sort of your base of operations, really. You go back there as a kind of hub where you get to know your gang members, you can speak to them to learn secrets, and you can pick up extra missions as well. You can build on the relationships with your allies and do things like hunting, which is going to be a big part of Red Dead. If you bring back fish and resources for the camp, a lot of the people in the camp will like and respect you more because you're doing your part. Now, Rockstar have said, I think, that you don't have to do that, but if you want to have a nice relationship with people, there's got to be a bit of give and take, just like in real life. But there's definitely going to be benefits to communal living.
That sounds absolutely lovely.
So speaking of the trailer, there's a little bit of analysis here. Some things you might have missed from our actual trailer analysis a few weeks, just months ago now. I put it out on Twitter, so if you're following me on there, you might have already seen these, but it's good just to go back through them. If you look at this clip, you can see that the guy that gets shot, his gun actually goes off after he hits the ground. Now, this is something that happened in Red Dead 1, but it does show the different dynamics you can get. And if you shoot someone, it's not necessarily like the end of the threat. Like, their gun can still go off if you're standing in the wrong place. You might still get hit in the face with a bullet. The mini-map has been changed this time around. It's in 2D. You can see it in the bottom left. But if you go inside a building, it now changes dynamically, so you can see the actual building layout once you step inside of a building. That I liked. Horses, petting horses, that's the word we're using now. But they also do something called digging, which they do in real life that you can see in this clip.
Oh, yeah.
Normally it's a sign of boredom or hunger or incompatible companions, which could factor into this. But you can see the horse there on the right. He's just digging with his hoof, which normally says that they're bored. And one final thing, the book that you can see on the counter here is actually the Wheeler, Rawson and Co. catalogue, which is the same one you get if you pick up the collector's box.
In real life, that is.
In real life.
Yes.
Okay. Right, let's talk about animals quickly then.
In relation to Red Dead?
Yes, please.
Yeah, good.
So like in the first game, the most important thing that they're going to do is transport you around, obviously. But this time around in Red Dead 2, there's a lot more depth to the interactions between you and your horse. Like, you have to groom it, you have to look after it. You can't just ride it around all the time, or it'll get tired and sad. So you've basically got to build a relationship with your horse and choose the right one for the job. There's loads of different breeds in Red Dead 2. Some are suited to more things than others. Some will be good for just like pulling stuff around. Others are good for riding fast off into the wilderness. I don't know if it'll be like boiled down so much to like, this is your stealth horse.
Yeah, or like, here's your horse and he's got 2 miniguns under his saddlebags. I mean, that would be a bit weird.
But you can definitely get like big Shire horses, which could carry a lot more stuff. They'll be a lot slower, but a lot sturdier, so you can like pack them full of stuff.
I guess it's crudely horses are the new cars.
Yeah, it's that similar thing, because all the horses will be able to carry like your living luggage, so like weapons, animal carcasses, that kind of thing, but they're actually strapped to the animals. So I think that they'll be like, this horse can't carry that much stuff. You're going to have to leave the deer that you've killed in the woods. Whereas if you'd brought your big strapping Shire horse, you could have taken all this stuff back, but it would have taken you a lot longer.
I hope there's a micro pony. It's the equivalent of the Faggio scooter. That would be tremendous.
You mean like a miniature Shetland?
Yeah, basically a miniature Shetland where your legs effectively walk the horse rather than vice versa.
Just can't do anything but just look nice.
Yeah.
So that'll give you like a brief overview of the things that we know for sure so far. There's also been a lot of other leaks, rumours and speculation, which we'll briefly cover now. Most of it relates to the map, which I'm sure many of you have seen. There's rumours of that being leaked out there. You know where to go and look at it if you want to go and look at that. It's definitely going to be a much richer world than what we're used to in, say, the GTA games. So that's something Rockstar really pushed, that it's a living, breathing world. Like, everyone has jobs and things to do. I think you remember when we were doing the GTA analysis, when we saw the trash men come on the car, and we were like, they're going to collect the trash 9 o'clock every Wednesday. That obviously didn't happen in GTA,
no, not
but
so much.
A lot of things have changed since then, and there's probably a lot to say that kind of thing could happen in this game. Like, people will have routines, I think has definitely been mentioned.
One of the beauties, I think, whilst the game is all about scale and countryside and this sense of like the rolling plains and getting away from it all, the map doesn't need to be geographically as big even as GTA, because you are largely travelling it on a horse or maybe even a train. A train might be effectively a quick step, between places, quick jump. But when you're in a fighter jet in GTA, you need the map to be massive to make it make sense. But you can create this smaller, denser world when your ability to be locomotive around it is reduced. So I think that's quite exciting for Rockstar, so they can really focus on density and then diversity between locales. Honestly, the thing I'm most excited about in this game is sunsets. Just going to cliff tops and enjoying beautiful PS4 Pro style 4K sunsets. I'm 100% in for that. And then the rest, and I think consciously that's what they want from this game. I think, part of this game is almost like a reaction to the pace and intensity of the modern technological world. And I think Rockstar are almost, they're publishing an open world that's part mindfulness simulator, is part of my expectation. For
just
a
go
game
and have a nice time at the top of a mountain.
Play for an hour and chill and play it at your own pace and just enjoy being on a mental holiday. Let me enjoy a sunset on my beautiful Shetland pony.
Oh, I can't wait to see the screenshots of that. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that there won't be loads to do in the world. Yeah. In the trailers, we've seen loads of mini-games. Other mini-game rumours include like herding cattle, fishing, a poker one that we've seen in the trailer, maybe even gold mining, like shifting for gold, and some shooting challenges.
Panning for gold. I don't want to sound brutal. That doesn't sound like a very exciting gameplay proposition.
What?
I await to be proved wrong.
All right then. Well, fine. And you'll be able to upgrade your tents. Rumours are much like GTA's online apartments. You'll be able to decorate them, put little trinkets in there that you've got from the shops, towns and villages and stuff like that. And then, of course, there's multiplayer. Now, we don't know too much about Red Dead Online's multiplayer at the moment. But, of course, there have been suggestions, leaks, rumours.
Yeah.
There's different modes that have been suggested. Hints of a Battle Royale mode, but, I don't know.
I'll put my cards on the table. This feels like the most significant part of the leak. And, again, were I a betting man right now, I would say Red Dead will definitely have a Battle Royale mode.
Really?
I'm convinced there will be one. And I know that sounds like, oh my god, obviously it's easy for you to say that. There's all sorts of reasons that lead to it, but I think it will be completely in tune with the kind of the gameplay, making friends setting of the world, and the fact, the gangs are so massive and populous. But, let's be completely frank, like GTA 5 actually became completely overshadowed by GTA Online.
Yeah.
In GTA 5 was an incredibly ambitious, incredibly well-selling game. But financially, it's been dwarfed by the performance of GTA Online. Now, there is no way on this earth Rockstar will be making a giant open world commitment like this. Red Dead isn't just, the game, the thing you play for 100 hours or whatever. They're committing to a platform. And that platform will eventually be, whether it's as explicit as Red Dead 2 Online, or, it's an extension of the game or whatever. The key point is that the online mode's going to be significant and it will be ongoing. And I can only see them launching a battle royale component within that, in the same way that actually GTA Online has absorbed a battle royale component. I see no way this won't happen, because people's expectations are for battle royale. Fortnite has completely dominated the world in the last 12 months. I would be, I go on record as saying I'd be staggered if there isn't a battle royale mode in this. And furthermore, because it was literally listed in the trusted reviews rumour that did the rounds around about March this year, and there's a lot of stuff in that felt incredibly informed. And there's always leaks around things, right, which often come from Reddit, and sometimes they're legit and sometimes they're total BS. For a site like Trusted Reviews, I'm not going to say they're not like Reuters or the dictionary. They're not like absolute go-to sources of factual information, but they're not a site that I think would want to pin its badge to something they didn't think was true. I would be surprised if a lot of that, certainly at the time they knew it, wasn't intended to be true. And Battle Royale was the cornerstone of all of that.
I guess the question around it would be, is it going to be a separate thing, or somehow involved in, as like one of the modes becomes a Battle Royale-esque thing? Like whether it's 100, let's say 100 individual people, or it's gang related and you have to say, oh, if you're in a gang of 10 and there's like 10 gangs of 10 and you all go around on your horses together and try and do something.
Yeah, it might not be a pure 100 versus 1 in that sense, but I think there might be, like you say, the opportunity to fight at a larger scale in gangs or groups. I think that's more likely and more consistent with the universe. But you never know, because, who would have said of the original Red Dead that, it might become more famous for a zombie battling mode?
Well, quite.
And again, I'd be surprised if zombies weren't back for this, or at least something that was a step from reality that allowed the game to be a bit wacky.
Like GTA Online.
Yeah, exactly like GTA Online. And it's crazier excesses. The core single player game is much more grounded and rooted, but multiplayer almost demands a bit of eccentricity. So they will find a way to do it. In much the way Call of Duty Zombies now is almost its own product and release. I'd be very surprised if zombies don't come back for this. Maybe even something else.
Well, I guess the other option for online is sort of drop in, drop out, co-op / open world environment, like sort of the Forzas of this world and that kind of thing do, where you're basically in a single player game for the entirety, but a quick tap of the button puts you in the same world, but it becomes online and full of players from real life.
I mean, that's technically what GTA 5 does, but it feels like it takes you out of the single player experience to a different world.
Yeah.
So technically, whilst you access it seamlessly, inverted commas, through your phone, it does actually feel like you're going through a black hole to an alternate universe a little bit to me. So I don't know if this will be similar. So technically seamless, but it may not feel quite so much so. And at the point when we get to see the game, we'll report all this back. Can't wait to talk about it.
Well, that feels like a nice segue into an outro, Dan. Anything to add before we go?
No, just to say over the coming weeks, a show per week, we'll be hitting all the big areas in depth. So we're talking about the world, the characters, the gameplay mechanics, online. Today is really a flavour of an overview of the world, more for novices who aren't as familiar. This, we're going to be much more molecular in coming shows, much more in the style of GTA 5 o'clock. This is just reintroducing ourselves to people we used to enjoy chatting to. God, what was almost 5 years ago?
Yep.
Was it really 5 years ago?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty mad. So, just to reintroduce ourselves, if you haven't listened to the show before, I'd be thrilled if you could join us for this journey. I'm so excited about this game. Let's be clear, this is the big AAA event of the year. What we all know as Rockstar fans is, their games are events, and we're all lining up for that event, and we want to see what Rockstar's take is, almost their critique of all of video games right now, and it's all there in Red Dead. We're there with you all of the way to report on it and enjoy it with you.
There we are. Right, we're all up to speed, and we will see you all next Friday, hopefully at 2 p.m. Thanks for watching. We'll see you there.